Welcome to another episode of the Walk the Line podcast. I'll be your host, Greg Sowers, and I'm very excited to announce that I'll be joined by three members of the TPH Academy here in Nashville, Tennessee. Again, episode 30, and we'll be talking about the TPH Academy. So the three individuals that are gracing us with this interview today are Mr. Pat O'Neill, who is the Executive Director for TPH Southeast, Michael Berra, Head of Hockey for TPH Nashville, and Lisa Mannion, the Head of Academics for TPH Nashville. And before we get into TPH Academy and what the program can offer, I'd like to offer an opportunity to the three of them to give a brief background about themselves. So first up is Pat O'Neill, the Executive Director for TPH Southeast.
Thanks, Craig. Really appreciate you giving us some time today to talk about our academy. My background a little bit is taught 18 years in academics, and then also was a principal, and then moved on to some business. Really got into TPH overall because my son played hockey, and then it got to circle around. That's what got me to Nashville, and then got to jump in here and help with the academy here in Nashville.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for coming on. And then next we have the Head of Hockey for TPH Nashville, Mike Berra.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. This is actually my my second year here in Nashville. I've loved every minute of it. I'm getting older and older. I think I'm entering my 15th or 16th season of coaching now. Coached from learn to play level all the way up through professional hockey. Now I'm coaching here specifically with the 16U AAA Nashville Junior Predators team. And as you mentioned, the head of hockey here with TPH. And like I said, I'm loving every minute of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. And then the Head of Academics for TPH Nashville, Lisa Mannion.
Thanks, Coach Greg. I'm Lisa Mannion. I have been a classroom teacher for about 25 years and a hockey mom for 10 years to two hockey players, and an Army wife. But I made the change this summer to Head of Academics for TPH and am absolutely loving it. Hockey all day, all night.
That's right. It's a lifestyle for sure. And just for our listeners, so we're going to kind of go into the academics and the hockey part of the school. I've got a lot of questions, from Flyers parents and some of the high school parents as well, being a coach of Summit Page. And I thought it was a good idea to, obviously discuss this, opportunity for a school and some hockey at the same time on the podcast. So obviously, so TPH Academy, Total Package Hockey Academy, and for Pat and Mike and Lisa, I was actually a OG TPH player back when they had the red jersey. So back in the day, it was Nathan Bowen was my coach, and Yui Krupp was on the bench too. So this goes way back for me. And obviously TPH, and correct me if I'm wrong, but TPH is the parent company of the junior Preds, the AAA and AA programs. Is that still accurate?
Well, it's not. What really comes down to is TPH manages the youth association, the junior Preds. So we have a contract to manage them overall. So the actual academy and the junior Preds are two separate pieces. So we really focus on, from a skating perspective, we focus on the skill skate and the academics, and then kids in the afternoon will go and skate with their own team. So they could skate from the Flyers, from the with the Warriors, or with the junior Preds. So we take we work with all the programs here in the Nashville area and surrounding areas.
Got it. And so just for our listeners out there, and a majority of our listeners are in the Nashville area, where is TPH Academy located?
It's over in Boost Fit Club. So it's kind of in two places because it goes into what we do overall. But the academic part and some of the strength and conditioning and the mentorship and the service projects, we work out of Boost, which is over 11 Vaughn's Gap Road, Boost Fit Club, over in the Bellmead area. And then we do our skating part at Ford Ice Center in Bellevue.
Got it. That was going to be my next question. So you have the spot where the academy's held, but obviously skating at Bellevue. And the Boost Fit Club, what you mentioned, that's where you're doing all your off-ice training?
That's where we do our academics. Our off-ice training will happen. Some will happen here on the turf that they have. But a lot of times right after they get done skating, they'll jump into the weight room at our head of strength and conditioning. She'll work with the kids there for 45 minutes to an hour doing that there.
Okay. And so obviously, there's prep schools and high schools, and there's a lot of different options for players and kids to attend school. What ages and grades primarily do you guys offer at TPH Academy?
We offer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry. We do grades 6 through 12 at the moment, can attend the academy. We do have a lot of interest in the younger grades, so they kind of start with the train only, which is they'll come to the skates and the workouts, and then most likely join us in grade 6.
Got it. Okay. And then, so this is kind of an overarching question, but I know there's campuses, all over the country, I think, for these TPH academies, but this is the only one in Tennessee. I guess, so what is the main goal, purpose of TPH Academy? Like I mentioned, kids hear about prep school and you're going, you're physically going to, the school, and hockey's kind of, a side thing that they do. But I guess what is the main driving point that you sell to these players and families, about the purpose of TPH Academy?
Yeah, I'll start a little bit on the higher level, and then kind of let Lisa and Mike both talk about it from their specific areas. But overall, we think if we have 1% of our kids go pro, we're doing a great, fantastic job. We try to move them on to college hockey, et cetera, on to juniors. But we really focus on, if we have the opportunity to make them 100% opportunity to make them good citizens. And so we do focus at the academy on the mentorship part, on the service projects. I actually had one person come in and he asked me, I love what you're doing there. And, I immediately jumped into the basics of the education part. And he said, no, I take that for granted that you guys are doing that part. It's all the executive skills that you're teaching our kids and what they need to do. If I had those kind of kids at my company, these kids here, we'd be doing great. So, we want to advance these student athletes, in and beyond the game, and make them the next generation of impact players on and off the ice, or off the field, and in the classroom and in their communities. So I'll let Lisa and Mike talk a little bit about specifics on what we can do here as far as the hockey piece is concerned, and also the academic piece.
As for academics, we obviously focus on academics here, but we do more than that. For example, we notice the need kind of with our middle schoolers in order to prepare them for high school. They're doing an online platform, but they need the accountability and organization and all that. So we have just incorporated this little, very user-friendly program for them. It's like a particular calendar where they set goals, and it's almost like a digital planner or digital agenda. And it's to help them look at what they have, set their goals and their pacing, and then they check the box when they have reached each goal. And it's a way to teach them to be organized and prepared and get ready for high school. We are actually also going to incorporate it a bit in the high school, because it's a little different when you're following an online platform, and we want to make sure all these kids understand how to hold themselves 100% accountable for everything, and so they can prepare for college and life in general.
Yeah, and Greg, I will say that I was super fortunate to work with a great coach when I was coaching the USHL, named Luke Strand. And Luke Strand now is the head coach of Minnesota State, and he always had a saying that said that the person makes the player. And I think that's something that we really strive for at TPH, is making sure we're not only developing all these individuals as players on the ice, but making sure that they're better people off of it. So just really taking that whole holistic approach to it all.
Yeah, and even as a former player from TPH, even back, what was this? I was a peewee, so 15 years ago, it was, the same message you guys are saying right now is what they did from the very beginning. So it's just good to hear things they haven't strayed away from that. And the big thing and it sounds like what you guys are preaching the same thing of, you could be the best player and, get the points and everything. But, if you're looking to go to a school, if you're not the best person, you're not getting the job done in the classroom, it's kind of, that's the most important piece. They want to have good people before you're a good hockey player in their program. So
Absolutely.
it's just good to hear those things. So I'll couple these next two questions together. You mentioned, you have these student athletes. Obviously, us being, or myself being the hockey coach, and we're kind of focusing on hockey on this podcast. But how many students do you have enrolled at the Nashville campus? And aside from hockey players, what other athletes are attending?
Yep. What's funny is that this model has been in place, and from hockey, kids going out billeting, or there's so much travel that's involved that we have to, all of a sudden they start getting in trouble at school or something, like getting in trouble because they're absent, and not attending school. It doesn't mean they aren't doing well. And so we've had this concept of, hey, let's do the academics and incorporate with what it's doing. And we've been doing that for several years, but total package hockey has kind of moved into, we do total package hockey and focus on events and training from that aspect, but also this academy piece, we really call it TPH Academy. And even in Nashville, 33% of our students, we have about 120 students, and 33% of them are non-hockey. We also work with the Nashville Soccer Club and their academy. We have 20 to 25 kids over there that we do the academics for them. And then we also have figure skaters, about 10 to 15 figure skaters. And then also the interesting piece about the hockey is we get kids that come to us from the hockey aspect, and then the mom and dad, they want more flexibility with their child and a good education. And they say, you don't do this for other kids, do you? And my child is doing dance, or they're doing equestrian. We have two equestrians that are the sisters to one of the U18 players that we have. And so they're like, oh, we'd love to do that. And so we get a lot more people coming into the academy that aren't necessarily hockey family members, but then families share it with other people. And all of a sudden they're asking us questions on how they can be in the academy as well. So it's really been great to watch it grow over the last couple of years to be more than just hockey. So got the framework from what we've done in hockey for a long time, and now we're able to pass that on to others.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it's working for hockey players and it's working well enough, so other athletes want to get involved, it's cool. You can support that kind of those different initiatives or different goals for any student athlete. So that's awesome to hear. This next part is going to be primarily directed at the academic side of TPH Academy. So I'm going to be calling upon Lisa for this one. So obviously, we're talking about 6th through 12th graders. I have no idea how it works from a classroom standpoint. So how is a curriculum decided upon for your student athletes at TPH Nashville? Are they in the same classroom? Are they're on the computers doing different things? How does that work from a curriculum standpoint?
Sure, no problem. So every student athlete here at the Academy is on they're on a virtual platform, virtual learning program, but our programs are powered by Ed Options Academy, fully accredited by Cognia, which means the students can transfer the credits if they're here, 1 year and go elsewhere another year. Everything is fully transferable onto other institutions. And we're also NCAA accredited, so we can offer non-traditional instruction to student athletes, which is handy for those looking to further their athletic career, in college. But everything is fully accredited, fully transferable. But we have this blended learning program, which is kind of our key to success here. Not only do they follow this online platform, they get live instruction at their leisure. Like, I had a girl come up to me and ask me something about her German class, which unfortunately I cannot help her with.
Right.
So I reminded her, I'm like, go on the live really quick. And they fill out this little entrance form. And I kid you not, it was 5 seconds. Bam, the German teacher is live one-on-one with her and could help her. That's a huge plus. Any of their classes, they get that live help, but also we're there. I have 3 academic success coaches who are here in the building all day to assist and guide, connect, help when they're stuck. I mean, they get learning from every single side of things. And then in addition to that, because, like I'll have a high schooler come and ask me something about pre-calculus, which I don't even know if I had that in high school. I cannot remember that far back in my life, and
Mhm.
math has changed. And so I will guide them, remind them where the resources are, and Ed Options provides these resources that are just the amount of resources are crazy, like all these different videos of teachers teaching. Like if they did not understand their tutorial, they do their lesson first. That's no problem. They go on and they can choose all these different videos of teachers actually teaching different ways. And then if that doesn't work, they can do the live one-on-one help. Some like to just go straight to the live one-on-one, and I don't blame them. Like it's one-on-one personal tutor at your leisure. So that's kind of why we went with Ed Options, because they offer all of that. And I think with that and having the academic success coaches here, we've got a whole blended learning program, and that's why we see such great success.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, same thing with hockey and drills, and it's like every kid learns a different way. Every student athlete learns a different way, and some it's, by demonstration, or some it's just listening, or some it's more, you have to see it drawn on a board. And I'm sure it's the same with their education. So it's nice to hear that there's these different, opportunities and pathways they can take to learn the same material, whether it be, from the computer screen, or if they need someone, there in person with your,
Yep.
I can't
Yes.
remember how you referred to them, but your teachers on
Success
site
coaches.
there.
Yes. Our
Yeah,
success.
and then also reaching out to a live teacher if, if Lisa Mannion can't speak German. So,
Yeah,
um,
right.
so no, that's those are really good resources. And so with all that being said, and these opportunities and options for the student athlete to learn, how do you see that your student athletes are performing academically, against someone who's going to a public high school, or just on average?
Um, we see our students are doing wonderfully. They're getting accepted to major schools all over. We have zero issues with colleges or other institutions accepting our students. In one of our other academies, we just had a student accepted to Princeton. So we've had other students go to Big Ten schools and so on. They're very competitive with other students, and on top of that, they're able to learn executive skills with needing to stay on pace and prepping for being gone for a tournament or competition, as well as needing to write appropriate emails, text with teachers. I know part of the NCAA requirements are that you communicate with your teachers. You're required monthly to, I know Michael, my son, just had a phone call with his math teacher. They have to, because it provides that, you must communicate with your teacher, not just a text or an email. You need to call and talk. I love that they do that. So I feel our kids are very well prepared for school and college and whatnot.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that information on the academic side. And we got a few questions at the end of this. We'll kind of rapid fire, and I know there's a couple academic questions in there, but it's kind of switching gears to the academy part. And I believe Pat, you'll be kind of stepping in on this one. We mentioned that TPH has campuses pretty much all over the country. What was there obviously junior preds are here. And hockey's growing in the Southeast. Was there uh, a major, benefit to putting a campus in Nashville, or kind of what what went behind then deciding to put a school in Nashville for TPH?
Well, as with Nathan Bowen came from Canada, was in Huntsville, and did his work there, and then he started expanding, and then obviously started to spread some into Detroit, etc. And then really it came along, JP Dumont, who's been here. as a pro, and then Tim McAllister. Both of those kind of started an academy, and then it really built into a TPH Academy from there. And then, the success of the Predators just coming down here. It's hard to believe it. Did I see the other day? It's 25 years that they've been here. Did I catch that correctly?
I think that's right.
That they've been here that long, and so hockey is just really built up, and people have come here. So I think it just made sense that, here's the next place to expand. And obviously, you can, how Nashville's blown up, people are wanting to come here and do it. And then, COVID has really, made people change people's minds about how things can be done, and how they can, do what they love as far as hockey is concerned, or another sport, and then also get their academics a good education at the exact same time while they're chasing their dreams.
And so some of these questions I've obviously came up with, and others are from parents who were, knew I was doing this podcast and wanted to ask. And I've heard TPH Academy referred to as a center of excellence. And, we're just wondering if COE Center of Excellence is the same as TPH Academy, or if COE was around before and now it's TPH Academy. Is there a distinguishing difference, or is it in fact the same thing?
Well, really what Nathan came up, we are not a school specifically. Ed Options Academy is the school. And so what we have is what Nathan said, is a center of excellence. We want people to, strive to be their very best with what they do. And then the academics come through Ed Options Academy with our support from that. And then what's happened over the years since that time in the early 20s 2020, people started looking for, what can I do with my child in order to move them into something that's virtual, or have that flexibility and figure that out. And Alan Kiso, who's now our CEO, very much into metrics and looking at data and information, found that, when people are looking for academies, the center of excellence doesn't come up. And he just wanted to get our voice, get us out to everyone else, and said, let's change it to TPH Academy. So when people type in academy for what they're looking for, as far as getting the sports and getting the academics and getting the mentorship and the service projects, etc., people will be able to find us better on the internet, etc. So we've changed it to TPH Academy to help people find us, and for us to find people who want to be involved.
Got it. Okay. Well, that clears that up. So TPH Academy. So you have, obviously you guys are all experienced, have great backgrounds, and there's a reason you're in the roles that you are, from former USHL coaches and things like that. But also, you have strength coaches and nutrition training, and then obviously the on-site teachers there for the academy. I guess first of all, how many people do you have on staff at the TPH Academy in Nashville? And if you want to go a little bit into the strength training, strength trainers and the nutrition, what are, if you obviously not a lengthy a background, but kind of where you find these people to, obviously support your mission and goals of the TPH Academy.
Yeah, it's just like Mike talked about a little bit. You get a great guy like Mike, who I call Mr. Development, because he just really cares about the development. He cares about the person that you have. And so you just find these people that are, have a great background with what we're doing. We have 15 team members here that work together, and it varies from player development coaches to strength and conditioning to operations. When you combine what Nashville Academy is doing along with the Junior Predators piece that we manage as well, you need good people that can put all this stuff together. About getting apparel and putting all that together, an organization of what's going on. So we've had college players, people that play juniors, people that have been in business and marketing, then also the strength and conditioning. Stacy, graduated from Ohio State and has been working with hockey for a long time now, and is just really the expert that we have here, and able to share her expertise and the focus that she has on hockey, and then also helping our figure skaters as well, and others to do that. And then also there's some things that we feel like people, they don't want to pay specifically for, but other people want nutrition or college prep or mental wellness and mobility. So we do have a performance zone where people can go in there and they know who they can contact that have that experience all around the country. So it's a great, total package, if you will, that we have for people in order to support them.
Yeah, yeah, the name works out. Total Package Hockey, get the total package of strength trainers, nutrition coaches. So, good marketing there on your guys' part. But and it's also, I mean, I keep using the word, cool, but I mean, you're in one spot and you have all these, from teachers to coaches to nutritionists to strength coaches, and it's all under one, essentially one roof or within driving distance. So it's just it's a cool resource to hear about and a interesting resource to hear about for our Nashville student athletes.
And Greg, I have
Yeah.
I have just one quick story of something that it just sticks in my mind forever. This one kid had just come from what we call brick and mortar, which is your traditional school, and he'd been here about 6 months. And he walks up to me, and he's a 15-year-old now, but I think he came here when he was in 7th grade probably. And he walked up to me and he goes, "Coach Pat, I am never going back." He said, "I get to skate in the morning, I get to do strength and conditioning, and then I get to do my academics and flexibility. I get to travel where I need to." He said, "I am never going back." And I just laugh at that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kid's dream. I mean, you, especially for your hockey player, your dream of playing pro hockey, and it's all under, for those guys, it's you're working out, you're doing your team meetings, you're going to skate, and that's your life. And that for, these kids who are going to TPH Academy, it seems somewhat similar to that. Obviously, you got to go to school, but getting them started early, living out that dream. So kind of switching gears to Mike, talking about the hockey program, the hockey side. Obviously, they're skating, during the week, and then they go to, if they're on a travel team, they go to those practices. But when they're with you all at TPH Academy, what's the primary focus for when they're on the ice? Are you guys doing breakouts, or is it pretty much all just individual skill development?
I think we really break it down to pieces of different things. So
Mm-hmm.
when you mention, system like a breakout, for example, we won't specifically get into that system, but we will rim pucks to players so they can learn how to be better on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
When we get into, say, a forecheck scheme, for example, we won't show them like necessarily a forecheck, like a 1-2-2 or a 2-1-2. But we will talk about stick detail and the importance of having your stick on the ice and taking a good angle. So we really try to break down the skills into what I like to call 3 different areas. So a standard week for us really kind of looks like we get going on the ice on Tuesdays. We have something we like to call No Stick Monday, where we just give the players a little bit of an off day from the ice. But then Tuesdays we get into really the foundational piece of skating. And Timmy McAllister and JP Dumont have really taken over this day, and they've done just an incredible job of building out a plan where the players are not having a puck on their stick. They are focused on edge work. They're focused on overspeed skating. They are focused on agility skating. Really, it's one of those days that you would actually think the kids would maybe dislike the most because they're not shooting pucks and doing all the fun stuff. But at the end of the last year, when we were doing our individual development plans, some of the feedback we got with the players was we really missed just the skating Tuesdays because we only did it for about 2 months last year. So this year we said, hey, you know what? That's great. We'll just do it for the entire year. So Tuesdays is our skating day. We don't have pucks on the ice. Like I said, Coach Timmy and Coach JP do an unbelievable job of really breaking down the stride and the edges and just the importance of overspeed skating in the game of hockey. Wednesday, we really kind of start getting into the hard skill piece of everything. So when you mentioned breakouts before, winning a wall battle, and you hear coaches say it all the time that if you win the walls, you're probably going to win the game. I think Dallas Eakin spoke on NHL Network last season during the playoffs and talked about how 80% of the game is now played along the wall. So we really do a lot of wall work this day. We talk about puck protection. We do a lot of angling drills and stick positioning drills, really just kind of those small little details that help teams win hockey games when it comes down to playoff time. Thursdays is a day that we have I call it kind of the soft skill element of it. That's a title that we're trying to change. It might be the NHL highlight day. These are the days that the kids have really a ton of fun, where they get to work on, the Connor McDavid moves, the toe drags, the saucer passing, skills that, certainly have relevance in the game of hockey today, but more the fancy skills, the shooting with no pressure, changing the angle of a shot, small little details like that. So we really try to break down our days throughout the course of the week, where we hit multiple skills that our players will need for the upcoming weekend of games that they have ahead.
I mean, that's all those things are. It's refreshing to hear because we have the program. I'm with the Flyers currently, and we have 2 practices a week, and we're trying to go over systems and we're trying to go over skill development, and it's so hard to fit those things into 2 50-minute ice slots a week. So for you guys, it sounds like you're skating almost every day during the week, but the kids when they're not at the rink, they're on YouTube watching Connor McDavid use his little pro what do they call it? Power Edge Pro things and like sliding pucks underneath and doing all these cool things. But at the same time, we can't get them to chip a puck out of the zone or win a board battle. And it's just those you mentioned the little things and the nuances of the game is that's as you get up and you develop through your career, those little things make the biggest difference from being an AHL guy or an NHL guy, right? So it's really cool to hear how you break it up that way and focus on those stick skills and things like that. As far as just like academy, you're getting grades and you're able to see your progression with a letter. Do you guys monitor hockey development throughout the year, whether that's a radar gun for your shot or your speed, or is there anything statistically that you guys do to show hockey improvement on the ice?
Yes, we actually do a couple things. So something I've done in the past is these small little reports. They're called IDPs. It's really a fancy name for individual development plan that we have with all of our players. And these players get this form at the beginning of the year that grows throughout the course of the season. And it really talks about, them as a player. What are some strengths? What are some areas they need to improve on? What are some individual goals that they have for the upcoming season? Because we want to make sure that we're here to help them. We're here to make sure that if they have goals, that they understand like this is the way you're going to achieve those goals. For example, if a player puts on his individual development plan sheet at the beginning of the year that he wants to score more goals, and his individual development coach reads that and he sees a player at practice constantly swinging away from the net or not stopping at the net or not taking away the goalie's eyes when we're working on tips, it might be a conversation that we have with that player and say, hey, you wanted to score more goals, but I noticed you're not finishing in the areas that you need to score more goals. So it's an opportunity for us coaches to really be involved and help them achieve the goals that they have. We also do hockey report cards with our players. On those hockey report cards, we actually do testing throughout the course of the season to show, if a player is getting faster. We have these awesome gates that our players, get tested from, an agility standpoint, from a straight line, 20, yard sprint standpoint. We really test them in every single area, and we just really use that to track their progress throughout the course of the entire season. We clock their miles per hour shot. I think they always feel like it's the all-star game and they're really winding up for good slappers and all that kind of fun stuff. So we find a way to make it fun for all of our players. But it also allows us as coaches to make sure that we're doing our jobs and we're doing everything we can to help these players develop. And we do our best to probably meet with every individual player along with their mom and dad probably once every 2 to 3 months to make sure that nothing's sliding in either direction and we're staying on top of everything.
I mean, that's great. I mean, you're basically making, you have your overarching, skill development plan, but then it breaks it down for each individual and the player's able to see not only how they're developing academically, but on the ice as well. So I know as a player, go into the Elite Edge Showcase in the summer here in Nashville, that report card after that weekend was like the thing I look forward to the most, to see how other people were judging my game, what I can work on. And it's just cool to have that, as part of your school. Right. So I got one more question for you, and then I know we're running short on time. So Um, so because you have 6th through 12th graders in your academy, and I'm not sure how the ice time breaks down, but are all the student athletes on the ice at the same time? You break it up by age, skill level. How is that typically done from a practice standpoint?
So a little bit of both. So we actually have our 18U AAA team. They skate in the afternoons. They would be group one. Pretty much every single player on the 18U AAA team is in that skate. We have a group two of 16U AAA junior Breds players that they have a skate in the afternoon as well. We actually have had the 15U AAA Blue or AAA Preds players that are in the academy as well skate with them too. So both of those groups are right around that 20 to 25 player mark. And then in the mornings, we actually have two groups as well. We have a group three, which is 2010 birth years and older. Those players can range from AAA to AA. And then we also have a group four, which is really kind of the ranges from 2011 and younger. And those players, like I said, they vary from AAA, AA, Pred Selects, AA Flyers, AA Marauders. We really do our best to balance out the groups based on age and skill level. But also the way we break down practices in general is if we do have a little bit of a gap in ages or skill level, we do break our groups into station work. So we really try to put players in groups where we don't have a 18-year-old AAA player going out there with a 12-year-old
Right.
select player. So we do our best to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Okay. Well, no, it's all great information. I'm sure our listeners, and I have players who listen and parents of players obviously that listen. So, thank you for the three of you kind of talking about your specific role within the academy. I do have a few questions that I'll get through. Again, I know we're short on time, so and then this one is for, I guess it's for all three of you, and it might be more sort of Lisa, but you talk about having you're a high school, you're going to the school, you're on the ice. Obviously, if you're going to a public high school, the kids are going to, Friday night football games, they have prom, they have homecoming. So this was actually a question from a parent. Does TPH Academy, kind of supplement the prom and homecoming? Is that a thing? Even like they're missing out on these, high school events that we all kind of have, and they're, these life moments. Is there something that TPH Academy kind of fulfills that high school life experience with?
It's funny you should ask. I just had some of the high school girls hanging out at my desk asking if we can do a dance. So it's something we're looking into. They have it all planned out, but to give them that life experience, we try to do things like we have a yearbook staff, and we have an
Mhm.
actual yearbook that comes out at the end of the year. So we make sure they're part of that. As for like homecoming and prom and stuff, we don't do, we're primarily male dominated.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you.
we don't do that. However, it seems to me that they have no problem going to other people's homecomings and proms.
Right.
I guess nowadays you have to, if you're bringing an outside guest, a form has to be filled out to verify that that person is in good standing, that just Joe Schmo off the street's not coming into prom. I have filled out so many of those sheets for my students this week. So I love that they're all doing that. So um, it's not your traditional experiences, but we try to bring in what we can, like clubs and like yearbook and all that. And we get them, we go on field trips, and we try to do the best we can, keeping them.
Yeah.
And I think, Greg, too, you get into the people that are coming here are really trying to push to that next level that
Mhm.
they're in, and they come here knowing that they're going to have to sacrifice some things,
Yeah.
that they really get focused on this. And before, when you were talking about 2 days on the ice, Malcolm Gladwell talks about that 10,000 hours. You can just see where these kids are able to spend when they're able to spend more time on the ice. You can see them improve. We see kids that, last year a kid went, being single A to double A, being able to do that. We see that, the other sports that they're in where they can go to that next level because they're able to focus more time on that. So we do try to do all the things that Lisa talked about, but also we have kids that are coming here that are really focused on their sport and striving to be elite.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I mean, moving up through hockey, as anyone on this podcast knows, it's you got to make some sacrifices if you want to be to where you want to be. So I completely understand that. And I just got two more if you guys got the time.
We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time. Whatever you need,
Okay.
Greg. This is great.
I appreciate it. So obviously, one of the big things people were wondering, tuition. What's that look like? What does that cover? And we don't have to get into the nitty gritty of it, but what's kind of the base tuition for the TPH Academy with ice time and the academics and everything?
So we have this year we have a couple of different things that have that we do. Number one, I'll go with the overall. This year we're at $16,950, but what that includes is students are getting on ice, so they get the on ice training that they do through. It's about we're about 32 weeks out of the year is what we are here, and then they get on ice, get the instruction from experts like Mike and JP, Timmy, and Teddy and Ty, helping them from that aspect, and then they get another hour after that of strength and conditioning, and then they're here to do their academics from that in the blended learning format that Lisa was talking about. We also have the mentorship program where our chief operating officer gets on and talks to the kids about what's it like to be a good teammate? How do you get your mind right in order to be prepared for what you're going to do? So those things are big. And then we have these guest speakers that come in, either talk about academics, talk about different careers that are out there for people. Mike was able to bring on a general manager from the USHL to talk to kids. So really a lot of different experiences to make that holistic approach and grow those kids.
From there, also, swimming and yoga. Sorry.
Yeah, we do. Great point. On Mondays, we kind of have this recovery activity where we can get the kids in the pool, but then we also have a yoga instructor come in to stretch the kids out on Monday. So it's that active recovery on Monday in order to help out from that standpoint. Then we also have train only, which is $9,000. 8,999, where kids can just do the strength and conditioning and the on ice portion of it. And then also students that want to just come for the academics, 6,750 to do that. And then sometimes we have kids that are working virtual. They say, I'm traveling so much. We have kids that are playing juniors or doing something like that, and $5,500 to just do the virtual platform. And then they get the support from Lisa and the success coaches on anything they need as far as getting connected from that standpoint, but still gives them the flexibility to do their academics when they want to. If they want to come on campus, then it's that $6,750 just for the academics.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for that information. And then, again, these are just kind of rapid fire questions I've got from others.
Sure.
Can you, and this question's more for Pat and Mike, but as far as, alumni, I mean, I know if you go to the TPH website, it'll show you all the kids that have gone through TPH and have moved up, and, you guys in the NHL. But can you just talk about a few examples of players who've attended the TPH Academy in Nashville that, have graduated and moved on to, a different hockey program or D1, something like that?
Yeah, I'll start and let Mike kind of finish up on anything that I might have missed. But we've really been, over the last 2 to 3 years, we've been really moving kids. We've had 8 to 9 players that we've been moving on to juniors. Foster and Hayden Nickel are both playing down in Shreveport. We have Florian Wade, who came in last year, who's now playing in the Null as well. Andrew LaHaye, Sean Morgan, all these kids. These are just recent graduates that we've had that are playing juniors. And then Jonathan Plylepuk playing in the OHL, Luke Gockler in the USHL. And then we talked about the non-sports a little bit, but we're able to give the academics and strength and conditioning. Harrison Cook is a water polo player that went on to college for next year. And then Mackenzie Edwards, she was one of our first female graduates. She was a figure skater and bronze medalist in the United States figure skating top 10 finish, and she's just put in a lot of effort into the figure skating. So we're getting athletes that are going on to that next level and having success. Mike, anything, anybody that I missed out of there?
Yeah, I mean, even our goalie last year at 18, Connor McDonough, he's playing North American League this year. Players on the 16U team, Davis Hales playing in the CCHL, Cal Gardner playing in the CCHL. So just really, Nashville is becoming a hotbed for hockey advancement, and we're super proud of it. And it really kind of falls into, obviously, we're talking about exceptional hockey players, but I think that the really cool thing with that all those kids have in common is they're great people. And, we were actually kind of lucky. John Flood went off to the North American League this year and wasn't going to necessarily see the playing time that he wanted as a young kid. And he actually just came back to join our 18U team for this upcoming season. So we're just really fortunate here to have really good kids and really good hockey players that are making, a big noise at the next level.
Yeah, and it's also, to have, the recurring, I don't want to say turnover, because the kids are leaving to go on to, bigger and better things, which is your goal. But, those kids go off, those players go off, and, they are good people. They're good on the ice. They do things the right way. And it's only going to make your program or the academy stronger, because now, well, you got another pool of players in Nashville that, you could take a look at. So, obviously, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, and Greg, don't underestimate. I mean, you started the show off the top just saying that you worked with Nathan Bowen, and so let's not underestimate the people that are going on from this hockey experience, and are doing great things, of being great citizens. And I think of kids that have gone on, they've played juniors, and then maybe they even played a Division III, and now they're going on to be lawyers, doctors, teachers, just good citizens that we talked about in the first place. So it's just really a growth experience for them too. We do think about the pro, and if kids didn't come in here, that's why they're here. They want to go to the next level, and we support that. But as Mike's been saying, and as we've talked about, building good citizens and having that holistic approach to growing these people is just as important, if not more, to this building process in the academy.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, being part of TPH as a peewee, again, I didn't have the opportunity for the academy because it wasn't around yet. But
sure.
Just the people who were involved with the program from the very beginning, it's all, make sure you're doing the little things right. And it sounds repetitive, and my kids who I coach now are probably are sick of me saying it, but control what you can control, do all the little things right. Being a good person is first and foremost, and you learn so many things, not just from hockey as a sport, and the experiences and the adversities you have to overcome, but also being in this kind of, fully focused mindset of trying to achieve your goal, and realizing the sacrifices that it takes to get along there. And it looks like Lisa dropped off. So I'll do this last question. And first of all, I want to say thank you to all three of you for hopping on. I know our listeners are going to enjoy this episode, and I'm sure they're going to ask, where they can find more information. And I'll have some links that I can share in the show notes on the podcast here. But, where can people find more information about TPH Academy?
Sure. Two things. Lisa's sitting right here next to me now. She couldn't get back on through the phone, but she's sitting right next to me.
Okay.
But also, I think one, tphacademy.com, they can get in and find a lot of information on there. And then also through the academy, you look for something that talks about the impact report, and the impact report just highlights the activities that are going on throughout TPH all over the country with what they're doing. And then actually, not as good as your podcast, Greg, but we'll have a virtual open house this coming Tuesday. The first Tuesday of every month, we have a virtual open house where we talk about all the things that are going on at the academy and how it works, and gives an opportunity for parents to ask questions. And so you can find that on the TPH Academy website, www.tphacademy.com. You can find all the information that you need.
All right. Perfect. And I'll include that in the show notes so the listeners can click on the link directly as well. Um, might be a silly question, but a lot of our players, they're on the Instagram and the Twitter and all the social medias. I believe TPH Nashville has a Instagram account that I can link as well.
Yep.
Okay.
At TPH Nashville.
Easy enough. All right. Well, again, for Pat, Mike, and Lisa, thank you so much for coming on and talking about TPH Academy. Again, our listeners, it was asked for, so I know they'll enjoy it and definitely get a lot of information about this opportunity. But again, just want to say thank you for coming on, and obviously, hockey season is upon us. Everyone's busy, so I really appreciate the time you took out of your days to do this.
Thank you, Coach Greg. We appreciate it.
Yeah, our pleasure, Greg. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again, and I'll see you around the rink.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.